The following program contains content that may not be suitable for children. Parental discretion is advised.
This is the 40 Days for Life podcast with your host, Sean Carney.
Hello, and thank you for joining us today on the 40 Days for Life podcast. I'm Sean Carney, the president of 40 Days for Life, and your host for this podcast, which is dedicated to helping you end abortion where you live. What is your Planned Parenthood affiliate up to in this post-Roe, post-federal defunding America that we live in? I just a couple of weeks ago was at the closing celebration of the largest Planned Parenthood in the Western Hemisphere, the Planned Parenthood in Houston, Texas, where I live. Praise God for that. We have seen 41 and counting Planned Parenthoods close their doors just in 2025 alone. So today we're going to talk about those that haven't closed, which ones may close, and what is going on at Planned Parenthood in the grassroots level for those facilities that are still open. And so that is the topic of today's podcast, and somebody who always knows what's going on, except perhaps in his own mind, is Mr. Steve Carlin, who joins me in person finally again. Welcome back.
Finally again. It's great. I was case of mistaken identities deported, but we have corrected that situation and I am back.
Yeah. It's weird when they thought you were Mexican. It's just, I didn't see it.
They thought I was a drug lord, and I don't even know where to find drugs.
Well, we've had that conversation of like, if we want to do drugs, like where do we get drugs? Of course, a lot of people know the answer to that. But I think it was your obsession with grape soda, which I believe should be categorized as a drug.
Shout out to our Palmdale and Lancaster, California campaigns, where when I went to their kickoff event, they gave me bottles of grape soda with real sugar and grape crush flavored jelly beans.
Wow.
On the jelly beans, did the jelly bean company get the rights to its actual grape crush?
It says grape crush jelly
It's like
beans.
when Taco Bell did the Dorito, the nacho cheese Dorito shell, and they had the Dorito logo. It's
one of the great inventions of mankind.
Well, I mean, it's all natural. But that's amazing. So it's grape crush, actual brand flavor jelly beans.
Yes, sir.
They listen.
What's the
nice.
nutrition facts on that? I'm just curious.
The scientists and the corporations who manufacture them went to school for many years to make sure that these are healthy for us.
Vitamin C. C. I'm sure it's grapes.
Yeah. I mean, water's a chemical.
Antioxidants,
Heather is also here.
I'm here.
We need maybe need to be a little bit of a sexist podcast, just like all the other episodes.
Yeah.
And because Steve and I have physically not been together since the trade.
Ah, yes.
What trade, the listener may be asking? The Micah Parsons trade. And I am happy with where we're at. I like the draft picks. We needed like 6 defenders, and he represented 1. And as you know, he has a bad back. I don't think you got a good deal. The back is it's not very stable, actually, on Micah. So I'm happy with the trade. We got your draft picks. Are you happy with the trade? He's done well for y'all.
Yeah, he's been great, and we don't do anything with our draft picks anyway. They're always terrible.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know
the
that.
late round ones are good. That's why the Packers are good. But their first round picks, you can go back 10 or 15 years and Jordan Love, and that's it.
That's interesting. Well, I mean, you got Aaron Rodgers late in the first round. That
yes.
Out, but that was kind of a fluke.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's draft and develop, and they never actually develop.
So the listeners should be aware, but they're probably not. You and I had a sad but interesting conversation after the Packer game when they played the Cowboys. It went into overtime. The NFL is so stupid in that they changed the overtime rules. They overcorrected. It was really bad with sudden death. Then you get 10 minutes. Both teams get the ball. The clock runs out, and we tie, which I was delighted with because y'all should have killed us. We're not good this year. We're rebuilding. Everybody knows it. And yet we were hanging with y'all. In my mind, we won. The tie is a win because it should have been like a total loss because y'all are really, really good. Plus, when we traded away Parsons, it was all over. So yeah. The tie, when I called you the next day, I said, how about them Cowboys? And you said, I think I need to go to confession.
Yes, because my previous bishop once said that if you are angry about sports on the Lord's Day, you have failed to properly honor the Lord on the Lord's Day. And I'm sitting there.
But was it after midnight? Was it already Monday?
I was angry the entire time.
Okay, yeah.
We went up early, and then when we blew it, so we're talking midway through the second quarter, I was angry through the rest of it. And I was sitting on the couch thinking to myself, those words of my bishop, I am dishonoring the Lord, and I didn't know how to change my emotions. I'm a 41-year-old man who got angry about a child's game.
Well, unfortunately, the game was in Dallas because eventually it will be in Lambeau, and we will be going, and that'll just be a dedicated podcast episode. We may just record
From the park.
at the stadium.
Stadium, yeah.
Between flipping the sausages, we can record a
Podcast that's dedicated to help. It's dedicated to something.
No, it's dedicated to something. It's dedicated to something. Here's the best part of the trade. This is why I love the trade. This is why I love the Cowboys, because I love Jerry Jones. I'm the one guy left that likes him because he has given me more in life than I've given him. Right? He bought the Cowboys when I was like 8 years old. It changed my life. I didn't have $200 million to buy the Cowboys. I didn't turn them into a $3 billion, organization. They're worth like $100 million more than the Yankees. Like, it's pretty amazing. And so he makes all these dumb decisions, and we all know it, but it's his explanations that are the best, because he pulled out, I don't know if you saw the press conference, but the whole Micah thing, he referenced the Irvin thing. And when he was signing Michael Irvin, he said, now, Michael, there's an old town in West Texas called El Paso. And I looked at that contract and I said, El Paso. And he told the story. And it's just like, the media's like, what's going on? It's like when they asked George W. Bush, like, are you invading Iraq? And he's like, where I come from, when the charcoal's gray, it's time to put the meat on. And they're like, what's happening right now? Are we going to war? And so I love that thing, is that Jerry Jones, they have to interview him. Right? He set this whole thing up around himself. He's by far the most influential NFL owner. He totally changed the games, the stadium being named after corporate, all the things that people hate about corporate America, Jerry brought to the NFL. It's really great. And he gets to explain it away, but we're in like this redneck Arkansas world that he lives in. But there's, $150 million contracts on the table. I love the irony.
And how he called him Michael throughout the course of the press conference.
I told Michael. He just kept saying that. And you can feel like his kids and his wife and his grandkids being like, what is he doing? What is he doing? It was just, he threw him under the bus.
So we definitely need to mention, you talk about his explanation for things, that he flipped off the Jets fans and then said he meant to give him a thumbs up and just got the hand gesture wrong.
Who said that?
Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones.
Yeah. This is one of the greatest explanations I've ever heard. Like, if my 5-year-old told me that, I would laugh at him. And here we have a grown man who runs the most successful, or at least the most financially successful sports franchise in North America, saying, I was trying to do a thumbs up.
That sounds like a kid's response.
Yeah. Like, you know how kids, they'll like...
But it's entertaining.
They
absolutely.
The people that say sports is your bishop, like it's supposed to be entertaining. When have the Cowboys not been entertaining? They've been embarrassing sometimes, but embarrassment can be entertaining. So it's just.
But it was truly child with a hand in the cookie jar thing. So my son, 5 years old, kids do weird things. They're counting and they're like, I'm counting on this finger, and then they like the middle finger goes up, and there's no bad intent or whatever. But he's like, hey, Benny, put that finger down. We don't put that finger up. So he doesn't know it's an obscene gesture. But when sometime later he sticks the middle finger up, and he gets in trouble because he knows he's not supposed to do that. He doesn't know why, but he knows he's not supposed to. And my son said, well, why did God even make that finger? I thought of that when Jerry Jones,
Yeah, I did not know that.
The Jerry Jones middle finger?
No, I didn't. I didn't see that story.
Yeah.
I didn't hear about it.
Great video.
And he gives him the middle finger.
Yeah.
It was an accident.
And then I think I think middle finger, and then pointed at him or something like that.
See, what's disappointing in that is he didn't say, and they deserved it. Like, Jets fans, the middle finger, like that's the first time that's ever been done. So,
People give us the middle finger all the time.
All the time.
Accidentally.
Yeah, accidentally. They're really trying to give us a
thumbs up or
Yeah, okay. Well, that's good. So I know you're not happy about the tie. It really hurts y'all.
I was glad. I was sincerely glad that you were happy about it.
I was very
I
happy.
wanted somebody. It felt coming out of it that, well, great. We just watched this game. It was very hyped, and nobody's walking away happy. I'm like, at least Sean is happy. That's nice.
I was very happy. I was very happy. Seamus got up, being 17, and said, "That was dumb. I'm going to bed." And I didn't have. I think a lot of America felt that, but I was on cloud 9.
It's like what was it? The show Dallas, where they had a whole season, and then at the end, it turns out it was just some guy's dream. That's what a tie feels like. This was pointless. Guys got hurt, things happened, and none of it matters.
And now that we're into this, they just need to rip off college football. That's the best overtime ever. You have to start going for 2-point conversions. Like, somebody's gonna win, and it's super fun to watch. And the NFL is just dumb with their current format. I think they'll end up changing it in the offseason because of the Packer game.
They change it every year anyway. I don't know the rules of football anymore. I don't know what a kickoff is.
No, my sons were like, "What's going to happen?" I was like, "I have no idea." We literally have to listen to the announcers to see what they say because they change it all the time.
The Packers won the coin toss, and they said, "We'll kick." I was like, I went
smart
nuts.
because you want to know what you have to
But
do.
I didn't know what the rule was.
Yeah,
I
even
thought,
if the other team scores a touchdown, you get a chance of possession, where it used to be if you score a touchdown, it's over. If you get a field goal, they get to try. The other team gets. So you want to know what you have to do. So you always want to kick. So that was smart.
I didn't understand, but now I get it. But it'll be different next year.
I'm getting the feeling we should probably just cancel the rest of the topic and just talk about this the whole time.
Are you? Is that the feeling you're getting?
Yeah, I can see you're really entertained.
Are you not entertained?
I don't know whose idea it was to have a woman on here. Can't talk football.
Lady
panelist. I forgot ours.
Hey, though, Heather made a call to a 40 Days to Life leader, and her husband was very excited that that his wife was talking to the lady panelist.
In the background, I do not want that on air.
No, tell us now.
In the background, she's like, "You'll never guess who's on the phone." And she said, "The lady panelist." He goes, "For real?"
You're famous. This as a reminder to the listeners, the viewers.
Shout out to
whoever said.
Jen.
What was the context? Like, I don't like the lady panelist?
No.
I like the lady panelist.
No,
On the phone call?
No, on the
original?
YouTube channel.
The original was, I believe this is close to verbatim.
Who's the lady panelist?
Yeah. Or and there may have been a what's the lady panelist doing?
No,
there.
there was the what's that woman doing?
Oh, what's that woman
doing on there? And these were from women, just so we know we don't have a sexist audience out there. We have a sexist audience. It's just all the women that listen to this that don't want Heather on here, because they love the football banter, and they're like,
can't get enough.
In all fairness, I haven't heard any complaints in a long time. That was like in the beginning when people just had to get used to.
We can get one of those signs up in the office. It says,
it's like when women were allowed to vote. It just took some time for everybody to kind of get used to
exactly
the situation.
We have gone 19 days without a complaint. That's the lady panelist.
Yeah,
put the sign up in the office.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. I'm sure that'll change. Okay. Earlier this year, we talked about Planned Parenthood's dysfunctional and awkward annual report, and we will put that show on the page. That is season 10, episode 22. And in that report, we basically show how out of touch Planned Parenthood is, and it's a funny podcast, and it wasn't supposed to be, but it's very funny because we have to read some direct quotes from their awkward annual report. So the whole notion was that corporate, which is out of touch, and we've been saying for a long time, they're very weak at the top. But what about their local affiliates that are still open? Because if you're a Planned Parenthood and you're open today, you've done something right because they're closing like crazy. And so we're going to look at that and basically take a closer look to see how well or not well Planned Parenthood is doing at the local level. Some of y'all will get shout outs. And the first one is Planned Parenthood Great Rivers, which is Missouri and Illinois.
We took a deep dive into this one. We'll cover another Missouri affiliate annual report on this podcast a little bit in passing. But I think
crucial, too, because Missouri has very good pro-life laws that are under attack, and we're helping defend. The AG in Missouri asked us, the Institute of Law and Justice, our lawyers, to help defend them, to protect their pro-life laws because they're under huge attack.
Great.
So we're in it. This is the heartland. We're right there, middle of the country, gateway to the West, the arch, everything that you can think of right in the middle of the country. And as you mentioned, their pro-life laws are under attack. They just enacted a constitutional amendment very close, 52 to 48, to protect abortion in their constitution. Now they're trying to repeal that amendment. So there's a lot of action going on here. So we want to just really take a look at the annual report and see, okay, we're not digging into Manhattan. We're not going into San Francisco or Seattle. But what is just your typical post-Roe, post-defunding Planned Parenthood look like? What are they doing? And it was just about as insane as what the National is doing.
Yeah, and let's go into the abortion numbers because when Planned Parenthood's not allowed to do abortions, they close. So they're about abortion. We know that. But this whole notion that we're here for women's health care, no, they're not. There are places that are available for women's health care. They're not impacted by pro-life laws. They're not impacted by the overturning of Roe v. Wade. But Planned Parenthood is, because abortion is their bread and butter. So it's only 3% of our services. When you do a deep dive on Planned Parenthood Great Rivers, look at this. Their big facility, which is in Fairview Heights, it's a mega Planned Parenthood, basically 7,942 abortions out of 28,000 clients.
Yeah, so we're talking more than a quarter. So forget about 3%, forget about 4%. When more than a quarter of your clients have abortions, you're an abortion business. That is what you do. That is your industry, which we all know. This isn't coming as a shock to anybody, but we now have numbers that really back that up.
People need to know that's a lot of abortions. So the mega Planned Parenthood in Houston that just closed, their goal was to eventually hit 8,000. They never did it. They were always between 6 and 7 typically. And then the Dr. Emily back in the day, which is a big abortion facility in the Bronx, which fortunately closed after many years of 40 Days for Life campaigns, they were doing 8 or 9,000. So that's a lot. I'm just trying to put it in context for the listener.
There's a lot of states that don't have 8,000.
There's a lot of states that don't have 8,000 abortions. And so this is just St. Louis. They built that mega center, and it's sadly delivering, I think, on the numbers because that's a lot of abortions, particularly for that part of the country.
The overwhelming majority received travel assistance. So right now we're talking, this annual report is 2023 to 2024. So there's always a little bit of a lag once the data comes out. So bear that in mind. But we're talking about a location where the Midwest, you've got states like Illinois that are very abortion friendly, and then you've got states like Arkansas and up until recently Missouri, which had very pro-life laws. And so the overwhelming majority had travel and logistical funding assistance. And this is something I thought was interesting here. Nearly half of the abortion clients came from outside of Missouri and Illinois. Very odd to me. The annual report, in fact, boasted that they had clients from 45 states. And so I'm very curious. I haven't been able to find information. But if you are in New Hampshire, what are you doing getting services at Planned Parenthood in Fairview Heights, Illinois? I don't know.
I don't either. And the travel, my guess, that doesn't surprise me because a lot of these places like in New Mexico, they're not seeing the numbers they thought they would. They thought everybody in the state of Texas would travel there. But if you have a place like St. Louis, you've got abortion-free Arkansas, you've got abortion-free Oklahoma, you've got the Dakotas, and you've got Wisconsin, which is always kind of hit or miss. So I guess I believe it. They're saying from 45 states. I don't know if I really believe that.
But that can happen too because oftentimes it's not about, okay, somebody in New Hampshire wants an abortion and they're going all the way to this location in, Fairview Heights. Sometimes that's just a matter of the quickest abortionist available or appointment that's available because there may be like several Planned Parenthoods between her and this location, but they don't have appointments until next week and she wants one right now. Or she has to have one right now, or her life is in danger, or like name any other things. So I can see where occasionally stuff like that. I know that occasionally stuff like that happens because I've heard of cases like that from both like Abby's ministry, Pro Love Ministries, and also from some of the pregnancy centers who are trying to help clients and prevent them from going those lengths.
I have a theory, and I'm gonna call BS on this. Not on what you said, I agree with it, but on this 45 states. So that means, so what 5 states are not included? Okay, let's say Hawaii.
Canada.
Alaska.
Hawaii. But if it's 45 states, it means that people would be traveling from very pro-abortion states to go to St. Louis to have an abortion. That's not happening.
Right.
You're not leaving San Francisco or Massachusetts or Michigan. It's local. Here's my theory. I think this is a lot of college students. And they're using this for fundraising. And so whenever you register your county, it's you're from California or you're from New Mexico or whatever. And that's where they're getting their states. But when Planned Parenthood of Great Rivers goes to raise money, they say, we are holding the line. Evil Trump is trying to close us. We are open. And in fact, people have traveled from 45 states to have an abortion here. Yeah. And it's just like, what do they got? They've got the University of Illinois at Champaign. They have got all like Washington University in St. Louis. They've got tons of colleges in St. Louis. The 1 in 4 women in college will have an abortion. I think that they're getting this by just pulling their college stats. This place did it when they were open, that they serviced women from across the state of Texas. It's because they're going to A&M. Right. And it's easier to have an abortion in your college town than to go home or drive to another city you're not familiar with, which is how this place survived. And so I think it's BS. Yeah, that's and also logically, you're not living in Tacoma, Washington, and are like, I've always wanted to see, a Cardinals game. I'll go have an abortion in St. Louis and catch a game. It's just not happening. But and they can skew the stats to make it look like they're just serving. And there's probably some international students, they just weren't dumb enough to be like, and people traveling from India and China just to get an abortion here. So they kind of cut it off. But that's my theory. If you're doing 9,000 or 8,000 abortions, you have plenty of college students that are from different states to do this. Yeah. It's not like they're doing 300 or 400.
That's probably the majority of those. I would say there's a handful of one-offs, right? So even if there's one person from one state, they could be like, that state counts. We got a person from that one.
100%.
And that very well could be, as we hear happens from time to time, a woman will be, she'll be from California, but she's visiting a family member, or she has her boyfriend in another state. And so now she's in this other state, she's pregnant, she wants to go ahead and get rid of the problem, so to speak, while she's in this other state before she goes back home.
Yes, I agree. And what I am saying is in post-Roe America, there is a lot of money in we need to pay for women to travel. Yes. A lot of money.
You know what? And you know what is disgusting but not surprising, just going off on a slight tangent here about speaking of the travel and lodging for women who are traveling out of state. There have been so many situations where various 40 Days for Life leaders, or even other groups, Sidewalk Advocates for Life, pregnancy centers, they will encounter a woman who is in crisis and has her travel paid to fly out. And in fact, we just got a report the other day from New Jersey, from one of our locations, where a girl was in New Jersey from Florida, and the funding that she received for her travel and lodging was only if she went through with the abortion. So if she traveled there, if she used up those funds to get there and had the lodging and all of that, but then she decided not to have the abortion, they would not pay for her flight back home.
Yeah.
And that's been happening.
That's the worst. You didn't kill the baby, so we're not paying for your
Therefore, we're not helping you. And they don't help her with post-abortion, any sort of medical care afterwards, like if she's bleeding, she's hemorrhaging, if she's bleeding for weeks. They don't do any of that. It's only up until the abortion, and then that's it. And that's, again, not surprising, but that is so coercive. We're not going to pay for your flight back home unless you go through this procedure when we've already paid to get you there. I mean, there's nothing pro-choice about that.
It's not pro-choice, but if you want to defend Planned Parenthood, they say, look, the deal is you really needed or wanted an abortion, so we paid for you. How do we know you don't have like an aunt up in New Jersey and you were just like clowning around and it was a pro-life prank? So I do understand it from their perspective. Mm-hmm. I don't agree with it, and I've used the talking point because it is fun and it's sensational and it makes them look bad. Mm-hmm. But from their perspective, they're like, yeah, but we're trying to provide abortions, and she said she wanted an abortion, and then she bailed at the last minute.
But they're often facilitating with the communications with the abortion facility. Like they're the ones that are doing the appointment and getting the client on their patient on the appointment list. They're talking with the staff of the abortion facility. They're often facilitating all that. So I mean, that is possible. But wow, like to go through all of that and then give your information to an abortion facility and all that and then just be like, haha, kidding.
Well, what's dumb is that why they let that, you risk it getting out, that you didn't pay for the woman. She's like, we all picture her like in the airport with her head down. It's all sad because I didn't have an abortion. Now I have to go home. They won't pay for it. My point is they could still raise money off that.
Yeah.
And probably the donors wouldn't mind. Like, it's a difficult choice. Even if they choose life, we fly them back. It's
That's
just
true.
It's an easy, fun thing to raise money off of if you're evil Planned Parenthood. So, okay, this Planned Parenthood Great Rivers, they joined a research project about performing abortion beyond the mythical point of viability. That's the
I love that. The mythical point.
You can't survive outside the womb. That's the myth. You let them try at least?
Wow.
Okay. So this is based on 2 abortion facilities in Illinois that expanded beyond the second trimester.
Yes. I don't really know much about what the objectives of this study were. They just kind of put it in print like, we did this beyond the myth of viability research. But they did a comprehensive study examining 2 different Illinois-based abortion providers that extended abortion through the end of the second trimester, which is interesting to me because the line is late-term abortion is made up. Nobody gets a late-term abortion. The evil pro-lifers invented that. And so we see this kind of cycle in everything where it's not real, okay, it is real and it's good.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a big first, and it's dumb on their part, but I like it. Beyond the mythical point of viability. I've never heard abortion advocates call viability like mythical or stupid or made up. And the reason is the internet. So when some doctor, and it's everybody shares these, like the baby was born premature, it's a preemie. We had a preemie. And everybody's like, wow, it's amazing, the gift of life. And they're like, not really going to survive. Rip those tubes out and see how little Billy does. He's going to suffocate. It's just an odd thing that they would question viability when there's a lot of people that give birth to a 28-week-old, a 30-week-old, a 35-week-old, and the baby lives. And by the way, we want the baby to live. Maybe that's the problem that they have. But calling viability a myth is like, you see it in injuries where somebody breaks their back or something and they may never walk again, but they have a shot, like they're going to walk again. And you come along and you say, that's a myth.
Yeah.
They're going to walk again. But the injury occurred 5 minutes ago. Like, you really don't know. They could be walking tomorrow. It just...
You wouldn't see a word like myth put into any other medical research, right? This beyond the myth of cancer remission.
But there's some things that they should stay away from. And viability is definitely one. We don't need to talk about when the baby can survive because it's not even a baby. Heartbeats. It's not a heartbeat. It's cardiovascular activity.
Right.
Okay. Why are we discussing this? Like, this is between a woman and her doctor. Get out of here. And that is where they should live. And when they start getting into viability, the mythical point of viability, when does the mythical point of viability end? When's it no longer a myth?
The true
Kindergarten?
point of viability, right? That's what I was
First
wondering.
home run in T-ball? All right, we'll let you stick around, you little punk. You really got a good eye for the ball. It's just an odd thing. Like viability, when we think you should be able to live amongst us.
Gosh.
Okay.
There's a few other points on here on abortion that I think are interesting. One of which is we're talking nearly 8,000 abortions, fewer than 10,000 contraceptive services provided. So for years we've heard, we're not just promoting abortion as another form of birth control. It's a very serious decision that a woman makes only after serious deliberation with her God, with her family, with her whoever she's deliberating with. But when you're talking less than 10,000 abortions and nearly 8,000, or I'm sorry, less than 10,000 contraceptive services and nearly 8,000 abortions. It sure sounds like abortion is being used as birth control to me.
Yeah, 100%.
And then one thing that I think the leaders will want to know, because right now you could interpret what we're saying so far to make it look as though we're losing, right? Like, oh, women are traveling for abortions.
And I don't think they are.
Planned Parenthood is mailing abortion pills into Illinois. This affiliate is mailing them in. So there's a lot of people like, well, it doesn't matter how many abortion facilities are closing. They're just mailing them out anyway. But they have to be mailing them from a location. And even these abortions, the number of abortions in Illinois has gone down, not reported in the mainstream media. And yet Planned Parenthood, a lot of these abortions were mail order abortions from the Planned Parenthood affiliate to women in the state of Illinois. So those are being counted. It's a myth to suggest that all of the mail order abortions are not being counted. They are being factored in. And so even that considered, the number of abortions in Illinois has gone down.
And that's an accurate number because we've talked about on the podcast the accuracy of the abortion pill numbers can get skewed because they've been stockpiled since COVID,
Right.
and certainly since the overturning of Roe. So some people are like, whatever, California did 5 billion, abortion pills last year. And it's like, no, they didn't. They may have 5 billion pills on the shelf, but those aren't actually taken.
Yeah, and so we're talking Illinois here. Those numbers have gone down. But nationwide, there was just recently some data that came out from Guttmacher, I believe, so not a pro-life friendly source.
Yeah.
And it showed that on the year to year, so far, the year's not over, but so far abortions nationwide are down 5%. So.
Yeah. Well, I think that the pill peaked in 23. It's a response to Roe v. Wade. It's kind of a knee-jerk reaction, but it doesn't have a good word of mouth. It is a painful process. It's a brutal process. Women see the baby, they pass the baby, and it's not what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like taking an Advil for a headache, and your baby goes away, and that's it. But it's not that. It's brutal. It's private. It's graphic, and it hurts.
But what's interesting is there are still celebrities that are just insistent upon not only is it good, but it's super easy. And by the way, I went through this, or my sister went through this. And it was like, yeah, I was doing yoga. And it was like, oh, I'm kind of, and they get all, have all cutesy names for it. I was like in mid-abortion. I was like, doing yoga. And it was totally fine. I almost forgot that I took them. And it doesn't mean that those experiences can't happen.
Right.
There are some women that it was a relatively easy process for them. They didn't have a lot of pain, but it's actually far less likely that kind of experience is going to happen for women. And I think pro-abortion, advocates would claim, and they have claimed, of course, like, for instance, the scene in Unplanned with Abby's abortion pill that was happening in her bathroom. That, according not only to Abby and several former abortion workers, but even women themselves going online. Look in the comment sections at a lot of places where women feel the need to say, I'm still pro-choice, but this was the worst, most excruciating feeling. And those are not anomalies. These former abortion workers would say they would sometimes be surprised, like how many women would be calling them up or coming in later saying, why didn't you tell me this? How dare you not actually give me the information? I did not make an informed decision. Because this was supposed to be easy and like taking Tylenol. So they want you to think so badly, and they want to brush aside any of the other stuff because anything that's negative about it is automatically anti-choice propaganda. But it just is more proof that they're not actually caring about women, and they don't want you to know the truth about it.
Medical bad word of mouth is the strongest bad word of mouth, too. Just if somebody has a procedure done and says, no, it's really painful, it's really this, or it's not so bad, but this has a bad word of mouth. It has a very bad word of mouth.
And we need to keep including that in our talking points. Like, we need to keep on sharing how women are suffering from this.
Well, maybe some of this decline is because now it's no longer you have to take the pro-lifer's word for it.
Yeah.
These pills are everywhere, and now you can take your friend's word for it, your cousin's word for it, your sister's word for it, and people have seen firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Planned Parenthood Great River, transitioning into this topic, Steve's favorite, provided gender-affirming health care to 1,729 patients. And this is, we've talked about there were, 1,100 truly transgender people in 2015. And now there's like 1 billion or something. Now it's just a fad.
Right.
Everybody's transgender.
And
but
also,
very few people, as we've discussed, to use an uncomfortable term, very few are hardcore and get the final chop.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Thank you. Waiting for that sound. And so a lot of it's like, I think I'm a girl, I think I'm a boy. And then you have the students going to school in the first half of the day. You got to call them Sally. The second half, you got to call them Tommy. And it's just all this crap that's just, made up. Who was it? I think it's Jordan Peterson that pointed out how there's hardly any transgender kids in Indiana or Tennessee or Alabama or whatever. But then you go to
Bill
LA.
Maher.
Bill Maher
pointed that
Bill
out.
Maher pointed out. You go to LA.
You want to tell me this isn't a social
You don't
contagion?
want to say this
really?
is a social contagion. It's very true. It's a very good point of just another way to get attention, another way to get inside your own head. Because then when it's time to, it's time for
Time for the chop.
it's time to chop.
The charcoal's gray.
Oh my gosh, it's so true. Yeah, it's just kind of like, no, I was kidding. So I'm not really a girl. But yeah, that's okay. So here we go. The National Planned Parenthood Federation of America annual report lumped transgender services into other services category, and they buried it as a footnote. But Great Rivers Planned Parenthood didn't do that. It's kind of interesting. They had 1,729 patients, which may be where I would be wrong on this, because I thought they were selling this to donors and they really weren't going to do enough transitions to make up for the abortion money. I mean, this is like telling Chick-fil-A you can't sell chicken sandwiches anymore, but you can sell soft tacos. And they're like, it's not the same. People aren't going to go to Chick-fil-A for soft tacos. So you love these analogies.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a big fan.
It's making me hungry.
Listeners scrambling around to get the notepad to write
Not as
that
good
down.
as a football analogy, but a
soft
close
taco.
second.
It was Chick-fil-A. What did he say? Okay, so that may not be true because sorry, I'm reading your California reference. Because if 1,729 people went to that Planned Parenthood for gender-affirming services, we don't know what that is. Some of that could be counseling, but we don't know how much. Boy, Big Pharma is making a fortune off this garbage.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not 1,700 services. It is 1,700 clients. So that can become lucrative because you have an abortion. We know Planned Parenthood and the abortion industry want repeat abortions. That is a business model. But how many abortions are you going to get? Probably not more than one a year. If you are on this transgender kick and you go through with the chop or the hormones or whatever, this is an ongoing thing. And so you're it's not just you go and you buy their product, you are now on a subscription model where you're renewing every month and the money continues to flow in. So this could be perhaps a bigger part of their financial model than we thought.
I mentioned to you in the car ride, whether you wanted to hear it, that I was having to describe this situation to an aging relative on the phone, and it was in the context of the guy who killed Charlie Kirk has a transgender girlfriend. It's a dude who dresses up like a girl.
Furry girlfriend.
Furry girlfriend.
Which adds a
even
whole
though it
other
has
level.
nothing to do with his motivations to kill Charlie. So my aging relative was asking me about, like, I don't understand it. And so I was like, he's gay. He's like, but what's the trans thing? His girlfriend is trans? I said, he's having sex with a gay dude who dresses up like a girl. I just had to lay it out. And the relative was like, oh, why would they want to do that? I'm like, that's not my specialty. That's not the point. Don't ask why. That goes back to the fall of man and why do we tolerate it and why do we celebrate it? But it was just one of these, some of the people getting older, you have to explain this stuff to them. And unfortunately I was put in this position where I was like, I just got to lay it out. Like, this is it. But the whole thing is, he's gay.
Yeah.
And that's what all this garbage kind of boils down to. And, Planned Parenthood, it makes me I wish we could get back and interview some of the late 60s, early 70s feminists, because basically the abortion industry is just run by gays, or it seems to be. And women are, kind of thrown out. And now they're doing gender-affirming care. They're turning women into men. They're supposed to be serving women, not changing them into men. It's just a total joke. And that's why it brings up this great quote. In California, Planned Parenthood client came in for hormone replacement therapy.
And this is legitimate health.
This is legit.
Menopausal. She needs
Yeah.
I don't know how this stuff works, but I know it's not trans.
Right. And I know you've gotten the same treatment. And so you're very familiar. So
Going through menopause.
So this lady, who's a real feminist, she is furious after finding out that her services were coded as gender-affirming therapy, and she screamed out in anger, "I'm not trying to become a man."
Yep.
That's a Planned Parenthood in California.
Yes.
That's gold. That's awesome. And when you look at the bigger picture, this is the majority are men, women that want to become men. Mm-hmm. Is that right? Of the transgender therapy. Don't we have percentages on that?
I thought it was men. I thought it was the reverse.
Sorry.
Because we've got the feminization
It's
of
the gay
men.
dudes wanting to be women.
Yes.
Yeah, but not actually getting the chop. That's the largest group that I've seen in all the studies, is the men wanting to be women without the physical ramifications.
So they'll have, like, if we're gonna go down this rabbit hole, they'll have like prosthetic breasts and everything, but they're not gonna do anything surgical to.
Yeah. But that's kind of
that's a whole other level of commitment right there.
Oh yeah, and not all of them will get the actual like breast implants. I think that's kind of like a big step towards. Right. But the idea of taking out Captain Hook or whatever is not on their radar. We're gonna have to edit that out.
This logically follows, though, with this.
Is
this
that better than
one
chop?
This one anecdote right here logically makes us question how many of these are actually transgender.
None of them.
How many?
There's no such thing.
Well,
as a
not
transgender
none.
person.
Not none. Because we've
some
seen
of them.
them.
But I'm saying the reason, and this is a victory of the, I don't want to say an anti-trans movement, but just the normal movement, the people movement, is that the trans and gay people hold signs at these rallies that say trans people exist, like we exist, like deal with it, and you don't exist. Just as if you were to say you're Elvis, Elvis is dead. You're not Elvis. You were never Elvis. You weren't born Elvis. You can't become Elvis. You're not Elvis. And that whole thing of them saying trans people exist, if you have to say that, like the moon exists or Twinkies exists, then it doesn't. And we don't say that about the moon or Twinkies because this is a psychological issue. And, that's why I just think this is big part of Planned Parenthood's mission drift. Mm-hmm. I mean, this was built by feminists who were angry at men. That is Margaret Sanger 101, and she hated Jews, and she hated blacks, and she hated Mexicans, and she, was going to contracept them out of existence and has done
Purify the race,
baby, and loved the KKK and all that good stuff. And that was just one of those, you're the worst person ever, and this is the organization that you built. And now, I don't know what Margaret Sanger would think about the trans movement, but just
she would have evolved, I'm sure.
I'm sure she would have evolved. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe
evolved.
She was a man deep down. But the whole thing was...
That's a new angle.
There we go.
Next podcast, let's explore Margaret Sanger's.
Margaret Sanger was Mike Sanger. Yeah.
Oh, no.
There we go. No, but she was a true feminist, and these people, the crazy kind, and Planned Parenthood's turning women into men. It just cracks me up.
This is a very odd thing. I'm glad that we got more data here than we did in the national report. But to Heather's point, of 1,700 received gender affirming care, how many of those were dudes trying to become women or women trying to become dudes, and how many of them were the women who needed hormone replacement therapy as they hit menopause? We don't know. But they're trying to lump it all into the same thing, just the same way that they try to say that miscarriage is the same thing as abortion. They're trying to say that anytime you give out this hormone replacement, that it's gender affirming regardless of what the end goal is.
Yeah.
Speaking of, as we do our deep dive, eugenics. Always eugenics. Okay. In celebration of World Vasectomy Day, which, of course, Steve plans that parade every year.
It didn't pop up on my Google Calendar this year.
Yeah, World Vasectomy Day. When you have your World Vasectomy Day party, what do you serve?
Ooh, don't get fired.
Don't get fired. Yeah, what are the dishes that you're laying out? Okay. Yeah, I've got a couple of ideas. No comments. Yeah, World Vasectomy Day. Oh my gosh, great day for the scissor industry. Okay, so they provided 91 free vasectomies over 3 days to uninsured or underinsured patients.
So generous.
Can't have those poor people reproducing.
Yeah, you look like a minority who's broke. Get over here and grab a bag of ice. You'll need it. So nearly half of Planned Parenthood's clients are minorities. That's just shocking. Is World Vasectomy Day just something that they made up? Is that internal, or is that a global phenomenon?
I'm sure they've tried to make it global. Maybe IPPF or IPPA, International Federation.
That's a beer.
No, it's not
IPPF, I
IP.
think.
Yeah, and
IPPF.
and IPAs are totally opposite of vasectomy. They promote life. Especially with some good oysters on the half shell.
Yeah, I don't know who invents these days. World Vasectomy Day, Day of Trans Visibility, all of these things. I don't know who invents them.
It's probably if it's not coming from them directly, I imagine it's similar to like the woman. Wasn't it a woman in Hawaii who went viral when she decided I'm going to make a pea hat for a Trump, anti-Trump rally, and that went crazy viral.
Yeah.
And they had all these, female genitalia knit caps that they were wearing at these so-called women's marches that could mean anything because we don't know what a woman is. So
I think that these great people that speak out, that basically got vasectomies and had them reversed and talked about, how ungodly it was, and then they ended up having children and they thought they were closed to life, but they had the reversal and they have like ministries. They should have a anti-vasectomy day. I don't know I guess you just call it that.
Is this like a hetero fest?
This is like hetero fest, vasectomy version. So, okay. The World Vasectomy Day section features a pair of overeager Planned Parenthood staffers flashing thumbs up in latex gloves. This is in the creepy section of our podcast, by the way, which is an actual section. It says creepy.
In bold.
In bold, yeah.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Tell me I'm wrong.
It is creepy.
Should have been, maybe italics, So, it also has a photo of Planned Parenthood supporters standing in front of a gigantic inflatable IUD.
I was probably outside of that convention, Democratic
the
National
DNC.
Convention.
Tell me, what is it? They seem obsessed with IUDs.
IUD, yeah. They like the inflatable IUD. I think because it's recognizable at a distance. Maybe it's a marketing thing. Like you can see it from your car and you're like, hey, there's the inflatable IUD.
Well, also it goes along with we're too ADD to remember to take a pill every morning. So the IUD is like one of the best forms of birth control.
That's true. But I understand the IUD because that's like a form of contraception and, they actually like sell that. But I'm worried about the World Vasectomy Day signage. Like, do they have signs saying today's world? Do they have T-shirts?
Probably.
Why
not?
World
Hashtag World Vasectomy Day.
Well.
Hashtag snip snip. Yeah, I'm sure that's all.
So, I really, they're not a hateful people, but I would be totally fine with Africans hating America. I mean, this garbage that we come up with, and they're like, what are y'all talking about? It's like when Matt Walsh went over there with What is a Woman? It's just Africa is still hanging on to natural law. It's wonderful, great, bishops and cardinals and priests there. The Catholic Church is booming in Africa, but they have just clinged to common sense. And as much suffering as that continent has been through, they're not nuts.
Yeah.
And we're nuts. World Vasectomy Day. Mercy.
You mentioned T-shirt, fortuitously.
You have one? You have World Vasectomy Day T-shirt? Is
Not
it
yet.
a wife beater? It is. isn't it?
He's going to wear it next week.
In our creepy section of the annual report, they have a photo of a guy from Planned Parenthood doing a media interview with a vasectomy shirt on.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
So I can send an email and see if you can get one if you want one.
Oh, this is interesting, too, the wording of this.
I think the back of the shirt says shooting blanks since 1987 or whatever.
There
it was,
you
whatever the year
go.
was.
There you go.
I can resist that.
It's got, yeah.
I mean,
it has to.
It's got, I can't take this. I can't take, we're going to wrap this up soon.
But listen to this. Volunteers assembled safer sex kits. What are those? Basically packs of condoms and Planned Parenthood promotional information. Notice it says safer sex kits, not safe
Not the
sex
way they said it in the
anymore.
90s.
Yeah, that's right.
Back in our day, it was safe sex. And I was like, we're not going to pretend it's safe. It's
Yeah.
just safer.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. All right. Here's the Planned Parenthood is coming for your kids section. So nearly 1,600 patients were 18 years under.
Under 18.
Under
Minors.
18.
Yeah, a lot more if you include 18.
The Teen Advocates for Sexual Health program, designed to center learning about sexual health through a sex positive and identity informed lens, and, quote, move toward a greater understanding and appreciation of healthy sexuality based on teen rights, respect, and responsibility.
There's so many things that we can't even properly define there. Healthy, obviously doesn't mean healthy to them.
Teen rights.
Teen rights, yeah.
Yeah, what does that mean?
It means that you
The
have a
rights to
right
have
to your
sex.
own body and to do whatever you want with it, even if your parents don't want you to.
Even if it's illegal? Tell me
Even
this.
if it's illegal, yeah.
My kids have been involved in various after-school clubs. Some of them are cool, like sports. Some of them are not cool, like the board game club. But
I think I know which kid that's. He's going to be running the world one day. You're not going to be making fun of the board game club.
But what do you do if your kid comes home like, yes, I joined the teen sex club organized by Planned Parenthood at school?
Ugh. I'm
I
so
don't
proud
know.
of you,
they
sweetie.
may not have a parent to tell. Maybe that's the goal.
That's also
Yeah.
No, they have to
possible.
have they do, I'm not going to say to their credit, but you have to get your parent to sign off on the permission slip to join the Planned Parenthood
your
sex club.
parent, anybody you want, a safe adult.
I don't know.
I'm sure they don't, follow through with that holistically like you would think they would.
One student participant addressed the St. Louis Women's March talking about educating her peers on, quote, consent, even though most teens can't consent.
By law.
Yeah, it's they don't have anything to do with the law. They're Planned Parenthood care less.
They
Well,
don't like being called groomers, and yet they're educating students who are not able to provide consent, how to provide consent, and equipping them with everything that they might want.
But I have to point out, they won't even do that because they can't even define consent consistently, because they have been quoted on their websites, including that are directed towards teenagers, as saying no doesn't always mean no. So they can't even teach them about consent at the young age when legally they can't consent.
Or they get into this wild stuff where consent, they can never limit themselves. Everything has to become this
Yes.
never-ending spectrum, like the
Right.
LGBTQ 27 letters. Like there's no end to it. The pride flag, always
Right.
adding new colors, all of these sorts of things. And so now consent has to be free, affirmative, enthusiastic. Like, how do you measure whether it's sufficiently enthusiastic to count as consent? Maybe they teach this at Teen Advocates for Sexual Health. I don't know.
So Planned Parenthood Great Plains distributes, quote, pleasure and protection kits, which can be ordered by kids as young as 15.
Yeah.
We do not suggest that be Googled. But yeah, pleasure and protection kits.
This goes back to the counseling of minors without the parental consent, of reading pornographic material to help you with your sexual experimenting, I should say.
This is just the West and all of this, what we've done with sex. But the their goal, which they're very good at, is just detaching sex from any kind of consequence or responsibility. And so it's just interesting in our age of health and wellness, where we're like, is pink sea salt better than, all this stuff that we get into with our health and all this. You have RFK running around, they're putting yellow number 5 in Mountain Dew, which I hope they keep doing because it's really good. But all this stuff, and then we're just going to say, have sex with whoever you want, however you want, how old they are. Here's your pleasure kit, and it's all going to work out fine. And there's no disease. Everything is safer. It's fine. And it's amazing.
It's almost as if they're pornifying our children, Sean.
It's one of the many words I was uncomfortable with anybody saying.
I thought you were going to say that about pleasure kit. I'm uncomfortable with that.
I'm uncomfortable with pleasure and protection.
Yes.
I mean, that's
heck kit.
Just a kit. Just a kit. So
Made me spit my drink.
what did the Amazon guy bring? That's my pleasure and protection kit. I ordered it yesterday. We got it on Prime.
I think we're going to need a disclaimer on this.
For sure.
Podcast.
Anytime we do their annual report of anything, we have to have a disclaimer.
Make sure you're 15. If you're 14 and 360 days, you got to wait.
By the way, which we reference on the annual report podcast, but they've gotten worse. I mean, the things that I was scandalized about when I first started, working in the pro-life movement is just a joke compared to this. They were passing out condoms to high school kids. That was the big scandal.
In the shape of roses.
Yeah,
They did that at A&M.
They did that at A&M, and we were all
Happy Valentine's Day.
scandalized.
Awesome.
Happy Valentine's Day. This is like World Vasectomy Day. In 2003, you're going to get a reaction. That's not, I don't know. They have just gotten weirder. They've gotten more perverted. They've definitely they've always gone after kids, but that's been, put on, extra fuel. Okay. So they host these workshops to address, quote, sexual health disparities affecting the LGBTQ plus kids as young as 14. So sexual health disparity, does that mean is it
It's a mystery.
Is it a disparity because if you're gay or lesbian, you have more of a risk sexually of getting...
I don't think they ever define it. I think it's your standard Marxism where everything has to be seen in the lens of oppressor oppressed.
Okay,
So if you are part of this favored category of LGBTQ+, then obviously somebody has it better than you, and we need to rectify that.
I see. The disparity is social and
Who knows what it is? There just must be one.
But the point is that they do this for kids as young as 14. Who, as we laugh and make fun of it, which I don't apologize for, they're not old enough to know, like a 14-year-old. We were at 14. You come in with World Vasectomy Day when I'm a freshman in high school, and me and my friends, it's endless. We're going to pay you just to keep talking because the lunch table conversation is going to be so glorious for the next 6 months. Remember the World Vasectomy, dude? What a tool.
Like, what type of scissors do you use?
Yeah, exactly. What's the hand sanitizer situation in the office? Yeah, it is.
Those gloves hypoallergenic?
It's endless. It's endless. And I think that the sad thing is 14-year-olds today maybe take some of this stuff seriously if they have just sort of zero, formation. The sexual health disparities affecting the LGBTQ community.
Also, when we were in... I guess 14 is junior high.
8th grade, 9th grade, yeah.
We were always, I think all three of us grew up Christian, conservative, pro-life, all of those sorts of things. And this would have been shocking then. Now that we're another generation, I'm looking down like, sometimes my teenagers, I have to be like, did you wear that shirt yesterday? Oh yeah, I'll change.
Yeah,
Like these are the, this
Yeah.
is the caliber that we're putting pleasure and protection kits in their hands.
Yeah, no, it's a great point of, and it's the overall point of they don't want to treat children like children. Mm-hmm. They want to treat them like sexual experiments, basically,
Yes.
and be like, if you have sex, you're old and mature. No, you're not. You're not. And they make it this kind of elevated thing, you know.
It's like smoking was, I guess. They marketed smoking to kids.
Yeah,
and
it's
now
like
they're
cool. It makes you feel older. Everybody in Hollywood does it and all of that. And now it's cool to be gay or trans or whatever. And you know, being promiscuous is a dark road. And that's just nowhere. I'm actually surprised in the pleasure and protection kit they use the word protection. I guess that's the false notion of security. But I don't know. I'm not ordering a pleasure and protection kit. Okay, lobbying unless it's
thanks
like,
for the
unless
reassurance.
it's like, I don't know. What if it's if this is like brisket and some nachos or something like, you know. Okay, some cholesterol medication. That's the protection part.
I think there was remember Austin Powers? Why am I doing this? Like, did you have protection? I had my 9mm on me the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. See, gosh, I missed the 90s. Okay, we're wrapping this up, we promise. Lobbying efforts aren't that impressive. Planned Parenthood boasted of gathering 1,000 signatures for reproductive freedom petitions.
Speaking of Austin Powers, $1 million. 1,000?
1,000.
Planned Parenthood could get 1,000 signatures?
That's not good. 50 plus supporters were in St. Louis at a rally, at a transgender advocacy rally. Okay. They engaged 500 community members at a Juneteenth event.
So great. You had your booth there. What is that? This is what you're boasting of in your annual report? You had a booth and you had 500 people walk past it?
I think this is really accurate as far as we're given the numbers kind of at the local level of just different affiliates that will actually report them. That's why we did the podcast, because it's so hard to get some of these numbers. But the last one is highly reflective, which is they don't have a lot of momentum in the grassroots, where the pro-life movement does. Not just 40 Days for Life, but the pregnancy resource centers and everything's like, we can save lives in Michigan and Ohio, even though they enshrined abortion in their constitution, because we're so strong in the grassroots. And it is as it should be. You're having a transgender advocacy rally. Millions of people will come to stand up for the injustice, and they get 50.
One of the things I think here, we've
about
mostly
right.
covered Planned Parenthood Great Rivers, but there's also, I kind of cross-checked it with the nearby Planned Parenthood Great Plains. We've referenced that a couple of times already in the podcast because, okay, Planned Parenthood Great Rivers has it's got the Fairview Heights Mega Center. Maybe this is not representative, but it is representative because the abortions at Great Rivers, it was a quarter. At Great Plains, it was about a quarter. Transgender stuff, similar at both Great Rivers and Great Plains. And I think if I were Alexis McGill Johnson, you can't have each little Planned Parenthood putting out their own annual report. It has to be, here is your template. This is what's on page 1. This is what's on page 2. This is on what's page 3. Because, I mean, we could probably do a whole year of podcasts, just every affiliate's annual report and what sort of insanity you find in it.
Yeah, it shows that she's checked out, their CEO, Alexis McGill Johnson, because you can't allow something like this to get out. You can't allow some of the language. Of course, in their annual report, the language is terrible. But this is a good podcast to set up Halloween. Some of this stuff is so scary, you couldn't be it for Halloween. You couldn't be an IUD for Halloween, walk around your neighborhood.
Well, I mean,
couldn't be a vasectomy world day.
You're going to give them ideas.
All right, listeners, if you see any IUDs coming to your door on Halloween, let us know.
Take a photo.
Take a photo.
And let us know. We want to.
You don't have to take a photo because your doorbell camera will probably have it on.
The IUD costume, not a bestseller on Amazon. So thankfully for that. Okay, well, thank you, Steve, for this wonderful and disturbing.
It was a pleasure.
Outline. Just rate, review, share the podcast, and complain about the episode so we have a reason to cancel it. We will see you next time. God bless you.